just one of those optimistic things. There's the potential for the fishing to start out a little bit earlier than maybe last year or the year before because of conditions. We had Shane Magnuson on last week from Upper Columbia Guide Service. He had pointed out that there's a 4 or 5 degree temperature difference on the Columbia, at least at that time. I'm sure that's changed a bit, but there's not a lot of water coming down the Columbia right now for a number of different reasons. If that temperature stays up a bit in that low 40s, 42, 43 degree range, you're going to start seeing fish that will migrate their way up the river a little early. Now, does it mean that the fishing next week's going to be phenomenal? No. Now, could it? Sure. But in the big picture, probably not. But it's certainly a time to get out there. So if you're going to try it out there on the Columbia in particular, on the anchor with plugs, not a bad idea. Dragon herring, another one, not a bad idea. But as we start going forward, things are going to change. Now, we've been getting several different reports about sea lions in huge groups by the hundreds down in the lower Columbia. Now, a lot of people are obviously worried about spring Chinook getting picked off, but that's not what they're after per se. They're after smelt. There are definitely smelt in the river down around the mouth of the Cowlitz and even distributed through. How far up, really don't know. But there's definitely a lot of sea lions that are in the river. So negative, yes. Completely horrible, well, yes, but not necessarily are they targeting Chinook. So take that with a grain of salt. Taking a look at the Willamette, there's only one over the falls at Oregon City, so nothing to be too excited about here. But what's interesting is you're starting to see pretty interesting numbers of steelhead starting to go over the falls at 122, then 247. They haven't updated for a couple of days, which is very normal for the Willamette. But that's darn good. I mean, this is what happens, you know, a handful of years ago, everyone, if you remember, before they started removing sea lions from that the falls area, those numbers weren't going up at all until April. So it's really promising to see these steelhead numbers where they are, it being the middle of March. So it's darn good. Hopefully, if you're out there plunking or chasing some salmon around, you might even be able to get yourself a steelhead on the Willamette when things are in your favor. Taking a look at Bonneville, 4 total have gone over. Now remember, the Columbia closes the 5th of April. That's a Friday. So we've got less than a month for it to be open below Bonneville in particular. We're going to have to see this get huge, 5 digits roughly, and it should happen. We'll see how things go. We're not even going to break out the 10-year average thing yet. It doesn't really mean anything or not really that interesting. But there are some fish that are in the river, of course, so hopefully, cross your fingers, things will work out well. Let's take a look at the river levels, and things are certainly changing with the rain that we have coming in. We're going to definitely see a bit of a bounce, and you can still see it over here, everyone. Just a little bit of a bounce that is forecasted. Looks like right around a 4-foot, 5-foot bounce, and that's going to be by the middle of the week where it should crest out and turn over. So the next couple of days might not be the best time to get out there depending on how you like to fish. But certainly, you can catch them on a rise. Not the best time, but sitting on the anchor, again, with plugs or bait, spinners and prawns, whatever. Plugs, even cut plug herring, believe it or not, could be a viable option if you're going to get out there. You will see this turbidity bounce. It is right there at 11. Excuse me, it's right there at 10. So as we speak this morning, Sunday morning, at 9:15, there's certainly some clarity in the Willamette. How long is it going to last? I wouldn't expect it to last more than today based on what that forecast is. If it holds out, right? If it stays accurate and stays true, you'll see that turbidity go out as well. Now let's take a look at some of the smaller rivers. They are still, of course, forecast, or excuse me, I'm sorry, the Columbia. Not a lot of water coming down. It's just we kind of got that little insider thing from Austin yesterday. They're not dumping water all the way up on the upper end of the Columbia, so that's going to obviously change things as it comes down. So not a lot of water. We'll see how things go through the remainder of spring. Smaller rivers, my home river, the Self, you can see everything's going to have a small bounce this week, which is all good stuff. Again, it is the tail end, the backside of winter steelhead season, but are there going to be fish still moving through there as fresh as can be? Absolutely. Again, you can't catch them if you're sitting on the couch. You got to get out there and take the opportunities when you get them. Same thing, all the way up and down the coast, you're going to see a small bounce. Some of these more central coast rivers might be a little bit more dramatic, but you can see they're all just going to pop up for a day or so and then turn right over. And that Wednesday morning, I'm busy on Wednesday. I got my Chevy thing going on Wednesday. That would be an interesting time to be out there. But again, you do have some options this week in this upcoming Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. I'll give you some ideas on what you can do between then and now, right? To get yourself ready for springers if you're going to be heading out there in any reasonable amount of time. All right, let's go ahead and make sure that you're aware. You can send an email to Jason over at ProCure. Have a chance to win a prize pack each week. And we're going to hope to try to expand this giveaway thing. Remember we used to do that? I mean, a lot. A lot. It was fun. We're going to see if we can change that up again as we go forward. But let's find out what the weather is really going to do. Now, I know that I kind of gave it up a little bit there, Katie. I was like, hey, are flip-flops in my future? It certainly looks like it is.
Yes, I don't want to bury the lead, but yeah, no, we definitely have, at least if you like 60, 70-degree temperatures for flip-flops. Definitely in your future. We have a few raindrops here at Willamette Valley Vineyard, but it's slowed down quite a bit. We've seen dumping rain most of the morning in areas just streaming down the camera lenses there, and it's backed off quite a bit. Here's what we have for the future. So today, you'll notice that things are starting to back off and they break up a bit. In fact, we may have a sun break or two this afternoon with showers mixed in between, and then we get to tomorrow afternoon. That next band of rain comes in, stays with us into the evening, then that breaks up and we see scattered showers all the way through Wednesday morning. Then things flip, and that's when we start to dry out. And here you can see a few more showers today. There's the break. They pick back up, go into Wednesday, a little Tuesday, maybe a little Tuesday night, not more than an inch, a little more than an inch for the next 3 days. Snow levels, those that stay at pass level at least through Tuesday night, which is what you're seeing here. And we're not expecting anything within the region, but we are looking at about 6 or 7 inches or so, maybe up to 10 on the mountain. Here's what your 7-day forecast looks like. So this is what I'm talking about. We have the system, this trough that's coming through, keeps us wet for 3 days. The ridge starts to build in, it dries us out, but it doesn't warm us up just yet. And then we get to Thursday, and that's when that ridge, we start to see the warmer air. And there it is, possible first 70-degree temperatures of the season.
I'm sorry. I'm just excited.
Let's just cover this part up right here. How's that?
Well, is this going to be the end of that, Katie, as we look forward? I mean, are we going to get any more valley floor snow like we had a week or two ago, or are we done with it?
Mark put a fork in it last week, so you know what I mean? Do you know the fork?
Yep, let's hope, right?
The big fork that he brings out, and he says, put a fork in winter, it's done. So.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to summertime. I know you are as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Katie. Thanks for the info as always. All right, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, I need you all at home, every one of you, cross your fingers that technology is our friend, right? Sometimes it is. Most of the time, at least for me, it's not. But we're going to have Jack Glass from Team Hookup Guide Service from the river, dodging raindrops in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.